You've heard of stupid human tricks and you've heard of stupid pet tricks. Well, I'm Tris Hussey and I'm going to show you stupid RSS tricks today in the lab.
Welcome to the lab. I am Leo Laporte, and this is the show where we show you how to get the... I bet you most people, when they think they're going to watch a technology show, they think it's going to be like this. We're going to talk a little bit about computers on this show today. No, it isn't like that. I am your friendly host, Leo Laporte. This is the lovely Kate Abraham.
Well, hello there.
We're the happy-go-lucky couple who are going to tell you everything you ever want to know about technology from the inside and out. Whether it's computers, the internet, cell phones, MP3 players, camcorders, home theater, we do it all so that you can understand it plain English, and then you can go out and spread the word. Technology. It's fun.
Yes. Spread the word.
Spread the word. No, because I'll tell you, technology can, of course, be good and bad. There's good technology. There's bad technology. There's neutral technology. A good technology, CAT scans, MRI, X-rays. Good. That's good technology. Yes. Bad technology, perhaps nuclear bombs. Okay, they're not really good for much, right? Perhaps. Except blowing things up. So but then computer technology, that could go either way. In the hands of Dr. Evil, this could be bad, but in the hands of somebody like the lovely Kate, this could be good.
Or bad.
She has a little evil little streak there. Can you make your head spin around all the way?
Only when you're not looking.
Oh dear, I was afraid of that.
When you're answering calls, my head's just spinning the whole time.
So my point is that let's learn how to make the best out of this. Let's use this to be creative, to amplify our voice, to change the world, to make the world a better place, and to have some fun too.
To make it a smaller place as well.
You know, that's a very good point. It does, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
This is episode 125. We have callers from all over Canada for this show. No Australians, I see.
They're not up yet.
It's a little early in the morning for them. Sometimes that happens. But we are going to have a lot of fun with Ray Maxwell. He's going to show you how your photo printer works.
Cool.
Because that's not an easy thing to do, to make a beautiful photo out of, spraying ink. In fact, I don't even know how it works. We'll find out. Tris Hussey is here, as you saw. He's going to show you stupid RSS tricks. Those are those news feeds that almost every site now has that you can subscribe to, and things like Google Reader or your RSS reader. And he's going to show you some useful ways to handle that flow of information. And then our tame hacker is here. Not so tame. Franklin Harris.
Indeed.
He's actually completely out of control. He's going to show you how to back up your DVDs, those commercial DVDs that are copy protected. He's going to show you how to do that. In Linux, no less.
Oh,
so if you really want to get wacky. So a good show plan for you.
Absolutely, jam-packed.
Jam-packed. Let's get our first caller on before we get too far behind here with all my talking.
We have Hess, and he's from Ancaster in Ontario.
Thank you, Kate. Hello, Hess.
Hello, Leo.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. What can I do for you to help you?
Oh, before we start, can I just ask you a quick question? Me and my mom want to know, do you watch Lost?
I do. I love Lost. Why did you ask that question?
Well, I don't know. I always wondered.
Look over here at the clock on. This is why I thought you might have asked this. Some wag set that clock to 1:08. 1:08. That is a reference to Lost, isn't it?
Yes. Yep.
Yes, it is. So I thought I've been waiting for somebody to ask. Maybe that caught that. But anyway, yeah. Do you like Lost?
Yeah, it's a good show.
Though, I have to say, lately it's been feeling like they're making it up as they're going along, right?
Yep.
And I found out they are. I thought they might have, I don't know, a story plan, an arc, an idea about what was going to happen. No, they're just making it up. I don't know, we could make, there could be a hole in the ground. I don't know. Anyway, that takes some of the fun out of it for me, because I was trying to figure out where they're going, and apparently they don't even know. So what can I do for you? Of course, that's like me, isn't it? I have no idea where I'm going. What can I do for you, Hess?
Well, I've been having some problems with my podcast.
You have a podcast?
No, I download podcasts.
Oh, listening. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, when I watch them, the frame rate's kind of choppy.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching a bunch of pictures that are changing really fast.
Okay, what do you watch it on?
iTunes, QuickTime.
And on Windows or Mac?
Windows.
Okay, so you're watching iTunes on Windows, which means you're watching them in QuickTime, and it's choppy.
Yeah.
Generally, that means that the computer's just not keeping up. Now, if these downloads are podcasts, the chances are, unless they're really high def podcasts, and I have to confess that I have been party to some podcasts, you cannot play back on any computer except the most powerful. You're not talking about Mac Break, are you?
No.
No, because I'll tell you, Mac Break, we shoot at 1080p, and you can't play it back on almost any computer. It's choppy. But most of the time, when you talk about Geek Brief or Lab Rats or Dignation, they're making these for playback on small devices like iPods. They should play back on your computer. Make sure, though, that you subscribe to the smaller file. I mean, you're not getting the massive file. Which feed are you choosing? Well, first of all, which podcast?
G4 podcast.
The G4 podcast. And do they make those, forgive me for not knowing this, but do they make those in a variety of different formats, or is there only one format?
I'm not sure. I just click get episode.
Yeah, in iTunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know myself. Otherwise, I would. The key on this, I guess I can look here. The key on this is to make sure you're not getting the biggest file. Now, tell me a little bit about the computer you're playing back on. Is it a old computer or a newer one?
Oh, Windows XP, fairly new, about a year.
A year old. And what's the processor in there?
Pentium 4.
Okay, it's a little bit of an older processor.
But see, when I put them on my IBM ThinkPad laptop,
yeah,
that's about the same, about 19 gigabytes free.
Yeah,
they run like much smoother.
They run smoother on that one. Is there anything else going on in the desktop?
Nope. I close down all the messengers. I exit out of some programs, and they're still really choppy.
Which show do you watch? The X-Play show?
Yeah, and Attack of the Show.
Attack of the Show. Let me just look at these. It looks like these are pretty standard size podcasts. I'm not sure. They're not even very big, it looks like. I would say there is some issue with your system. It can't keep up for some reason. Is it playback on your iPod?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, the iPod doesn't have as fast a processor as your PC.
Did it have something to do with the fact that I'm running my computer at 100% CPU usage?
No. That's just the idle. It's the system idle process, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's normal. What it is oh, look. I got a blue screen of death trying to watch their podcast. That's even worse. Well, at least the frame rate's good. So that wasn't so good. I tried to watch it on. I tell you what I would do for a couple of things. I would do. How much RAM do you have on your system? Gig?
512.
512. That's probably part of it. I would put some more RAM memory in your system. It's going to slow down. The problem is it can't keep up. Video is a very rich media. It has a lot of data coming at you very fast. What you're seeing is the computer can't keep up with 30 frames a second, so it drops one every once in a while, and things stutter around because you're dropping out part of the stream. And that's the only way it can keep up. So it's telling you, I can't keep up. And what we have to figure out is, why is your computer slow? Pentium 4, not super fast. 512 megs of RAM, not a lot of memory. Could be either of those. Have you defragged your hard drive lately?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It's 240 RAM.
Oh, that's the problem. Oh, my goodness. Tell your mother to get you more memory. Actually, you have a job, don't you?
No.
No? Okay, then tell your mom to get you some more memory. You need at least 512, and you probably want a gigabyte. You don't have enough RAM, and that's what's going on. The ThinkPad has more than that, doesn't it?
I believe it has 512.
Yeah. I think nowadays with Windows and Mac, a gigabyte should be the absolute minimum. RAM is cheap, and what will happen if it doesn't have enough memory is it starts pretending that the hard drive is memory, and that's going to slow everything down, and really video is not going to play back very well at all. So I think that's your problem. You just don't have enough memory in that computer. Okay?
Okay.
Hey, I thank you for the call. It's great to talk to you, Hess.
Thanks, Leo. You think you could send me an autograph?
Of course I can. Hang on the line. We'll get your address, and we'll send one out to you, okay? Coming up, inkjet printers. Do they do a great job nowadays of printing out your photographs? Beautiful, rich color, but how does it work? Ray Maxwell's here. He's going to tell us. He's the master when the lab continues. So we were, Franklin Harris and I were looking at the video from G4, and I think the problem is it's high quality encoded video, and you're not going to be able to play that back on a slower machine. Unfortunately, and it's too bad, but nowadays people are assuming faster machines if you're going to watch video. Ironically, you could play it back on an iPod, but it's tuned to play back that video compared to your standard desktop PC. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Ray Maxwell is here. He is an excellent teacher on all things tech, very good, particularly, however, in photography, printing, color, and all of that, because that's what you did for a living for many, many years.
Yes, indeed.
You've got a little demo of how an inkjet printer works.
Yes, we're going to talk about the difference between how an image is made up when it comes out of a camera and when it's displayed on our monitor, and then what we have to do to it to get it ready to print.
And this will probably help people understand why their prints often look so very different from what you see on the screen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because once again, when we talked about color science, we talked about illusions.
Right.
And once again, when we go to printing, we have to create an illusion.
Trick the mind to see colors, to see what you want it to see. So where do we start?
Well, let's start. I have an image here that is a continuous tone. For short, we call that a contone image.
Okay.
This is the way it would come out of the camera. And if I blow it up and look in real close, we can see the individual pixels, and we can see that each pixel has a certain tone, a certain shade of gray or color, and the LCD is capable of giving us 256 levels. So we have a carefully guarded secret that on Macs it's only 128.
Is that true, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's people that are unhappy because it really only uses 16 bits instead of the full.
Ah, that's
In fact, there's a lawsuit over it.
Is there?
Yeah.
Well, all right.
But
so 128
anyway,
different levels, or 256 levels, and it has how many? 16 million colors to choose from?
Well, that's another. It isn't 16 million, but anyway, that's what everybody says. And
you get a palette of some colors, and you get a range of luminance.
I can't see that many.
Right.
I can't distinguish them, so it doesn't matter. But you can get.
So it isn't really continuous; it's choppy.
Well, when we blow it up like this, but each tone, it's gradually changing from one tone to another in very different levels.
That's what you see on the screen. It's not what you see when you print it out.
That's right. Now, when we go to an inkjet printer, as we talked about in an earlier show, it spits out a little drop of ink.
Right.
And it only has two choices: spit a drop of ink, don't spit a drop of ink.
Oh, really? So it doesn't have continuous tone?
No, there's no continuous tone.
It's on or off?
It's on or it's off. And we call that a bitmap file because it only has a state of 1 and 0. And that's what actually gets sent to the printer heads.
That's amazing that we can get then something that looks that good.
That's right.
So
we have to pull a trick. So in the early printing days, and I'm talking about offset printing and so forth, we went to what was called conventional screening. And if we look at this, what I have up on the monitor now, you can see that it's made up of a bunch of dots.
That's what cheap comic books looked like.
Yeah, now I've blown this up.
Newspapers.
You know, I've blown it up so that we can see the screen. But what you'll notice is the screen is on a regular grid.
Right.
And I'm varying the size of the dots.
So bigger dot gives you a darker color.
That's correct.
Smaller dot gives you a lighter color.
So in offset printing, they varied the size of the dots.
Interesting.
And it's called screening. And this is conventional screening, or the nickname is AM screening, amplitude modulation.
Okay, because it's the size of the dot.
Right, because it's the size that we're modulating.
Okay. That makes sense. I get it.
Now I turn.
That's black and white too, by the way.
Now I'm doing black and white.
Can you do that in color?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm just keeping it simple and demonstrating it in black and white. But at any rate, there was a problem when they came to inkjets. Inkjets, when they spit out those little droplets of ink, they don't place their dots very accurately.
Oh.
And if you have a regular screen and they are randomizing and not placing them exactly, you have a problem called banding. And it doesn't work very well, especially in the early inkjets.
Right.
Today we've got inkjets that could do it. But so then they came up with another way of screening. And it's called stochastic screening.
And this looks more random. It doesn't look like such a rigid screen.
Notice, if you look at this very carefully, all the dots are the same size. They're not changed in size. We just change the spacing between the dots.
Oh, I get it. Okay. So you make it darker by clumping dots.
Clumping the dots, okay.
Instead of by changing the dot size, you clump them. Can you change dot size on inkjets? I guess not.
There are a few inkjets that will give you 2 or 3 sizes.
That's not very many.
But that's not very many. You have to do it with the screening.
Okay.
This is called stochastic screening.
Okay.
It's randomized.
Right.
And the nickname is FM screening because you are spatially modulating the distance between the dots.
Interesting. And that's how you get darker and lighter tones. Now, I guess there are more dots per pixel on a printer than there are on the screen.
Exactly.
So we have the ability to build a single screen pixel with multiple dots.
Right.
Is that right? Yeah.
If we take a single Contone pixel, you know, at screen resolution, we need to have a whole bunch of printer dots and decide whether or not we're going to print them to create that same tone.
What range of luminance does the printer have? Is it 128 levels? Is it more or is it less?
Well,
can I even talk about it that way?
It's hard to talk about it that way. It depends on the screening and so forth. They're actually at the very highest end of offset printing. You can actually produce 4,096 levels. Yeah.
These are very fine.
Extremely fine. Extremely smooth.
Probably on a commercial inkjet where you have a DPI.
This is with a very high-end RIP and a laser setter for CTP. Okay, you can get 4,096 levels.
That's what a professional photographer might use to make prints of their...
The truth of the matter is the eye can't see anything beyond about 128.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, but it does have a different look.
It's a subtle feel to it.
It's a subtle feel to it, and it definitely is better.
It's kind of an amazing science because you not only are trying to figure out how to place the dots, how to make the thing work, you have to understand the psychology of how the brain sees things and think of a way to trick the brain.
Now, speaking of that, you'll notice that one of the pitfalls of stochastic screening is in the early days, again, in the early inkjet printers, they put down a pretty large dot. And so as you got into the highlights, you could start, as the dots are spread out, your eye can more easily pick them up.
Oh, interesting.
So they came up with a trick.
Oh, yeah?
You'll notice a lot of inkjet printers today have cyan, magenta, yellow, black ink, but they also have light cyan, light magenta, and a light gray. So what they do is they go up through the tonal scale and they start spacing out the dots.
And then it gets too spaced out, they use a lighter color ink.
And then close them back up again.
Oh, interesting.
And so that gives you very smooth tones in the highlights.
That's how light Canon works. That's exactly how it works.
That's why it has the light inks. It's not to expand the color gamut.
I thought it was. They're tricksters.
It's just to make the highlights look nice.
And this is even on high-end printers. It's actually especially on high-end printers.
Yes, that's right.
Ray Maxwell, thank you so much for explaining how all this works. You can see Ray's great photography. He does some amazing stuff at his website, maxwellmultimedia.com. And he comes by fairly frequently to teach us a little bit about how all this stuff works. Really appreciate it. Now, let's take a look. Zoom in on this one. There's no screening involved. This, what you see is what you get. This is a close-up image of, I think I might know, of something you commonly find around the lab. I think I know this one, but I may be wrong. Anyway, let's go to the web, think about it, cogitate, contemplate. When we come back, we'll tell you when the lab continues. Stay right here. Welcome back to the lab. Before the break, we showed you this close-up of something. Clearly a screen and is that a click wheel? Maybe it's an iPod. Yes, I knew it was a Nano. Yes, 5.5 out of 125 shows. That's a batting average of like 004.
There's something weird happening with that numbering. I don't know. I think you're tipping ahead.
Am I? Anyway, I hope you got that right. I had a feeling it was an iPod. I thought it might. Don't look at me like that. I have to take my victories wherever I can. Kate Abraham, you have another caller for us?
I do. I have Roy on the line, and he's from Halifax in Nova Scotia.
Hello, Roy.
Hello, Mr. Laporte. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm getting along fine.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. What can we do for you today?
Well, I'm a Windows user, and I've been thinking of switching to the Mac.
Oh, my goodness. What will Bill Gates say?
Lots of the family like to use some Windows programs, so I wanted to be able to run Windows on my Mac.
Yeah?
And what I was wondering about is if Windows is running under Parallels, is it as prone to malicious software as it would be if it was running on a PC?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
Could that malicious software cross over to the Mac side?
That's the right question. No.
No, it can't?
No.
Okay, well then the last bit I have then, I was wondering if you do get a virus when you're on the Apple, and you're sharing a disk, as I understand it, with the...
You could be, you don't have to, yes, you can have a shared disk.
Yeah, and if you're doing that, how do you reload the operating system without hurting the Apple side?
Isn't that an excellent question? So let's talk a little bit about what goes on here. And there are two main programs for virtual machines on the Mac. One is Parallels that you mentioned. That's what I'm running right here. And one is VMware Fusion. Of the two, VMware Fusion seems to be pulling a little bit ahead in terms of speed, but both offer the same feature to make a snapshot. So you said that you're sharing a disk. You are, but not in the way you might think. You're actually, the way both of these programs work, they create a large file that is a virtual disk. It's just a normal file from the point of view of the Mac. So should you get an infection, here I am on Windows running on top of the Mac, should I get an infection, I can either just delete the Windows install, or better yet, I've created a snapshot. And this is a feature of Parallels. They call it something different in VMware. Both give you the ability to create basically an image copy of your virtual machine. If you create a snapshot, you can always revert to that snapshot. So if you get an infection, you just revert back to the pre-infected snapshot, essentially loading a new image, and you're golden.
Oh, that's great.
So it makes it very simple. In fact, even for this very reason, even people who are running Windows on PCs often use VMware to access the net for the same reason. It kind of sandboxes them from any bad guys. The bad guys affect the virtual machine, but not the main machine. Now, to be a little more detailed on your earliest question, as of right now, there are no cross-platform viruses. There are no viruses that can live on Windows and then migrate. As you can see, I'm in Parallels here, but I can see the Macintosh home drive. This is the Macintosh drive. If I were a bad guy running in Parallels and I were aware of that fact, I could access this drive, if you gave me permission, and try to infect files on this drive. This is the Macintosh drive. I'm in Windows. So, just to prove it, there's the Windows menu. Here's the Macintosh drive. But right now, there are no cross-platform malware programs, and truth is, it's a difficult thing to write, and there's not a lot of incentive to do so. So unless you see a lot more people using emulation and doing this, look, virus authors go after the low-hanging fruit. Much easier for them to write viruses for unprotected Windows machines than anything else. So that's what they do. And if you're running in a virtual machine on a Macintosh, that's too weird an environment for them. They're not going to mess with that. So I think the likelihood is very good that you're not going to see any cross-platform infections that can take advantage of this setup. And, you can always turn off the shared disk, and that would prevent it completely. So essentially, yes, this is a much safer way to run Windows.
Another thing I was wondering is, it's sort of a crazy question, but it came up here the other day. Yeah. Can negatively charged ions affect the data that's on your disk?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I should ask Ray Maxwell. He's the scientist here. But I will tell you one thing. It is a very well-known fact that cosmic rays, stray particles coming from the sun, can actually strike your hard drive and flip bits. In fact, they're doing it all the time. Millions of bits a day are flipped on your hard drive. But it's the same problem as, say, an asteroid hitting you on the planet Earth. There's a lot of water on the Earth, and most of the time they don't even hit landmass, and even if they do, it's probably not populated. Your hard drive's even more like that. The chances are that you're not going to have data destruction or memory destruction from cosmic rays. Yes, they can affect you. They do all the time. Cosmic particles hit your machine all the time. They flip bits in RAM. They flip bits on the hard drive. Most of the time, it means nothing. But if you have a blue screen, we had a blue screen earlier. Could be there was some software. Most likely, it was some software malfunctioning. But it could have been a cosmic ray. We just don't know. That's why these things will never be perfectly reliable. There's always just a little bit of randomness added. Really an interesting question. I thank you for that one. Coming up in just a bit, stupid RSS tricks that aren't so stupid. They might be pretty cool. That's for Tris Hussey in just a bit. But right now, it's time for Sean and the Shiny. He's got monitors. What are you doing here?
Monitors.
I wanted to review this.
This is my very cheapo monitor stand right here. I'm just holding it up.
This is from Matrox.
This is from Matrox.
And they're selling this as a way to run multiple monitors off of a machine like an iBook or MacBook that can't run multiple monitors.
Right. So that's been the problem for the longest time with notebooks is you have the one built into your screen and then you have the one output.
So this is connected right here to the MacBook.
Right.
And then we have two monitors connected on the other side.
Yeah, we have it over on the other side here. So we've
Is
got
this an extended display or a mirrored display?
This is an extended display
Wow.
right now. So what it does is this essentially simulates one long display. So it'll have the
Is the MacBook different? It is.
Yep.
So if we put them all side by side, we're going to get 3 displays together?
Right, and actually you can have 4 because this actually has 3 outputs on this side, and then you've got the screen inside your notebook. So you can actually have...
Is it like a video card in a box?
It's a video card in a box. So it's taking one signal out saying, I am, 1024 high by 3000 and whatever long.
And then it
splits them on these screens so you can actually take this.
So even though the Mac can't do a display at that resolution,
right,
it's tricking the Mac into thinking it can.
It's tricking the Mac into thinking that it has that. Well,
this works with PCs as well?
Yes, it works with PCs. There's a whole
from
list
Matrox
of the various compatible systems that it can do on the Matrox site.
How much is it?
It's $299, a bit pricey, but if you absolutely need to have
how much are the monitors?
Displays,
yeah. So let's look at your shiny and dull for this. This is really cool.
Well, one of the shinies is it does add 2 monitors to that extra DVI port. So instead of 2, you can now do 4. It's compatible with Windows and Mac and probably Linux as well. It does work with both DVI and VGA. It's better with DVI. And it does have bezel management with Windows, so it actually can put a little gap in the display where the bezels of your monitors sit.
Oh,
so
that's
it looks
neat.
like one gigantic display.
I want this.
Downside is you really want identical monitors in order to make it work, otherwise they'll be odd shapes.
So they match.
Yeah, it's not compatible with all computers. Check the website to make sure that you have a computer that'll be compatible with it.
It's powered off USB, not plugged in, huh?
It requires just one USB port, so it'll take away one of your ports, and it is a bit pricey.
And how is the performance? Pretty good?
It's good. It has a few little quirks.
You wouldn't play games on it.
You could play games on it. That's one of the things it's designed for. It's probably not high-powered games with high-end graphics, but you could do a little bit of a surround picture with that.
For a giant spreadsheet or somebody who wants to do video editing and is using a laptop, what a neat idea. Matrox, Matrox.com.
Be sure you bring your own monitor stands as well, because you don't want to
you don't want to have Sean have to stand there the whole time. I've been wondering about this. I'm very impressed. That's really, really cool. Thank you, Sean. All right, Tris Hussey coming up in just a bit. Before we go, though, our quick quiz question of the day. According to Message Labs, they measure this kind of stuff. What percentage of email in June 2007 was spam? 26, 49, 72, or 100? I'll give you a hint. It's gone up since then. All right, we'll talk about it a little later on when the lab continues. Welcome back to the lab. Tris Hussey is here. He's going to show us why you can use RSS feeds for more than just news. Tris is a pro blogger, one of Canada's leading professional bloggers, and he is a editor of Blog Nation Canada, chief technical partner, 1x1 Media. Now, we've talked about RSS feeds before, but just briefly, this is a way to very quickly and easily visit hundreds of sites in one single program.
One single thing. So you instead of going to my 598 sites where I read the news from, it's all brought to me in my reader, and I can read it.
It's really convenient. It's a great way for skimming.
It's great for scanning, but it's not just for updates from news.
They call them news readers, but it's more than that.
It's more than that. One of the fun things to do is an ego feed. Now, we call this an ego feed, but if you are like you or I,
it's not ego for us. We're professional wiseacres.
Well, it's making sure that you know what people are saying about you.
Right.
So, for example, if I'm here at Google's blog search, and I'm going to do a search for Leo Laporte, and I'll even spell your name right if you insist.
I didn't even know Google had a blog search.
It does.
So there you go.
It's in beta, of course. So here is the results of every mention of you.
Interesting. And by the way, these are not always on my sites.
And not always on your site.
So that's why you would want to see what's going on.
Exactly. And then right over here is the subscribe.
Oh, there's a feed for it.
For a feed, Atom or RSS. Now, depending on how your feed reader, you might click this and it'll just open automatically, or you do the copy and paste.
Right. But you could get that in there.
Regardless.
That's great. I'm going to add that. That's great.
Another great one. I'm going to switch to Ice Rocket. Another great search engine. Here's one of the magic code things, link : and we'll do a search for my blog just because I can type it fast generally. Okay, and we're going to do. And
so you're going to search for everybody who links to your blog.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all the people referring to you.
Exactly.
Again, there's an RSS feed.
Again, there's an RSS feed.
More and more, you're seeing RSS feeds for anything.
RSS feeds for anything. And then, of course, one of the first places we started doing these ego feeds was Technorati. Same idea. You do a search, and it can be generated as an RSS feed. And that's pretty cool. Technorati is cool that if you wanted to do a search for something like, say, digital cameras, you can get the results and then...
What is Technorati?
Technorati is a company that tried to be the authoritative resource or index of all blogs. Of all the blogs.
So it's a blog aggregator, search engine.
It's a blog search engine. The cool thing that you can do with Technorati is you can decide, I want posts from only those that have a lot
and what is
of authority.
What is authority?
It's the number of blogs that link to a
So the more blogs that link to you, the more authoritative you are.
Exactly.
So that's actually a good thing.
It's a good thing.
If you're looking for information about digital cameras, you want authoritative sources.
Exactly. You only want the best.
Okay.
So now let's get to some fun stuff.
That could be an RSS feed too, what you just did there. So if you're doing research on something, vacation homes or digital cameras, you create an RSS feed through Technorati of everything going on, and then you can do that.
Say you're going on vacation somewhere and you want to know what's going on in Whistler or the Bahamas or Mexico. You could have an RSS feed searching for news and information.
And when
about
you're
that.
done, you just delete it. You don't have to keep it.
Okay. So let's get into the fun stuff. This is the Weather Channel. And the postal code here for the studio is V6A1E1, and you do a search.
They actually have a feed for your weather?
And they have a feed for your local weather. You just put in your local thing, and here's the result over here in another tab. Oh, they can't find it, so we'd have to use Vancouver or something.
Okay.
But in any case, it's there.
I get it. That's really neat. And that's at the Weather Channel?
That's the Weather Channel. Okay. Lots of places offer this. And now let's even get into news.
I'm starting to look for that RSS logo everywhere.
Look everywhere. And if you're using Firefox or IE, you notice up in your address bar, there's often the little orange icon that tells you there's a feed somewhere on this.
This is just a Google News search, but there's a feed of it.
This is just Google News for SciTech, and I subscribe to this one actually, and you would just subscribe and get the news. You can get the top stories. It's like getting a newspaper delivered to your desktop, personalized. And it's a great way to go beyond just what other people are saying. Pull in Reuters. Reuters has a really good feed.
Right.
PR, press releases. If you're
it's kind of amazing what's going on. I tell you, RSS. When you first hear about it, it's kind of hard to get your head wrapped around it. But once you see what people are doing with it, you really get an idea of the power of
once you get beyond the seemingly geeky edge of it.
It's really just a way of taking data and making it that you can easily read it.
You can easily find it. If I make a plug for my friend Lee Lefevre and Common Craft, RSS in plain English. If you still don't get it,
is this a book?
It's a YouTube video. It takes 3 minutes.
Oh.
It's awesome.
I have to watch this.
You have to watch.
We'll put a link in our show notes. That's all at thelabwithleo.com. As is Trish's stuff, and of course we have RSS feeds too of our own, so subscribe to ours as well. Trish Hussey's RSS feed and his blog is at ca.blognation.com, and he also has a personal blog at lyricsconsulting.com. It's called A View from the Isle. If you ever, A-I-L-I-S-L-E, not A-I-S-L-E.
That's right. I'm not sick, I'm on a rock.
not ale. All right, we're going to take a break, come back with more and just a little bit more of your calls as the lab continues. You stay right here. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, welcome back to The Lab with Leo. I'm Kate Abraham, and I want to ask you a quick question. Are you a big fan of kind of quirky and unique short films? If so, I've got a fantastic website for you. It's from our friends at McSweeney Magazine. It's called wolfindvdmagazine.com, and it's got some really quirky little short films that will pass a bit of time for you. So this is the website itself. It's wolfindvd.com, and it literally has a list of fairly rare and unique short films. Now, this is actually a subscription site, so for about $50 US a year, you can get the subscription to 4 issues, but they also have these free previews. And as you can see, there are loads and loads of them.
How interesting.
So wolfindvd.com.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, it's from McSweeney.
Yeah, McSweeney's local. To me, it's San Francisco area, right?
Yeah. So in this year, I think four subscriptions for the magazines for the year.
Oh, you get the magazine and Wolfen?
Yes, but it's $50 for the subscription, but you can actually check out free of charge on the front page.
What a good pick. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and do you have a caller for me?
I do. I have Marty from Lindsay in Ontario, and he's currently on his cell phone because he's out trick-or-treating.
He's trick-or-treating. Oh, well, thanks. Sorry we interrupted your trick-or-treat, Marty.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, welcome to the lab. Now, I assume you're not trick-or-treating. It's with your kids, yes?
No, I'm with my daughter, yeah.
Oh, okay. What is her costume?
She's Barney.
Barney, the purple dinosaur. Oh, isn't that cute? Isn't that sweet? Well, I'm sorry. We won't keep you. I know you've got places to go and people to dress up as. Let's get your question on here.
What I was wondering is, what's the best kind of digital camera to buy these days? I had a Sony DSC W5. It's a couple years old, and the LCD screen was smashed on it.
So it's time to get a new one.
It's time to get a new one. So I'm just wondering, Sony, Kodak, Canon, what's the best one to go with?
You know, best is a big word, and especially when you're talking about compact cameras. In terms of the digital image, it's less a choice between different cameras. It's more about what software's in the camera, what kind of functionality. You know, some of them have really long zooms. You might want that. I usually will look for a compact camera with built-in optical image stabilization. I think that's a very nice feature. Often it's labeled OIS or IS. What that means is it'll steady your hand. You might want to look for one that has good low light performance. No compact has great low light performance, but some are better than others. Look at the back and use the software. I mean, some of it's very obscure. A lot of people like Kodak for that reason. I think they're the easiest to use. But there isn't a lot of functional differences. A lot of it is really how comfortable it feels to you. If you liked your Sony, if you were really happy with it, I'd stick with Sony. You already know how to use it, and they make some excellent, excellent cameras. I'll tell you a place to go where you can read completely objective reviews with a lot of useful information. They do low light performance, stuff that the manufacturers won't tell you. Low light performance, color accuracy, things like that. And it's digitalcamerainfo.com.
Oh, okay.
digitalcamerainfo.com. It's run by my friend, my very good friend, Robin Liss. And what I like about it is Robin has always been a believer, as I have been, in editorial ethics. In fact, right at the top, you'll see a button that says ethics, where she talks about what their ethics are. They don't take cameras from, or gifts or any other compensation from the camera companies. They don't take trips from them. They are absolutely honest, but boy, do they have a lot of information. You can look at the reviews, but you can also look at their ratings, which will give you a very quick way, once we get past the ad, of seeing how these point and shoots, you know, compare to one another. They like, and I have to agree with them, the Panasonic Lumixes are very good. I'm a fan of the Fujifilm Fine Pix. Canon, of course, has always made great cameras, both SLRs and non-SLRs. But, you know, if you want an underwater camera, for instance, you might want to go with the Pentax. If you like, you know, there's a lot of choices. And by the way, they rank number 2, the Sony CyberShot DSC-H7. They like it a lot. They say it's a very, very good camera. So this is a little bit bigger than I think most people want, but it has very good lenses. It's kind of an SLR in a compact frame. So look and read the reviews. I don't think you can go wrong with any of the major brand names. If you had to put me on the spot, I would say Canon, but I'm a Canon guy from top to bottom. I use Canon SLRs as well. But this is a great place to go for a lot of information. digitalcamerainfo.com. I've been very happy with my Lumix. What do you have? You have a Canon right there.
It's a Canon. This is the SD900.
And that, now turn it around, because show them that's a very nice LCD, very big LCD. So, yes. But some of them have frame, you know, viewfinders. Some of them don't. Some of them have bigger LCDs. Some of them don't. It really all depends on what you're looking for. That's why it's kind of overwhelming when you hit to the store. There's hundreds of choices. digitalcamerainfo.com, a great place to start. Have fun trick-or-treating. Have fun with Barney. You'd be a good Barney. You ever wear a purple dinosaur outfit?
I'm big in purple.
Try this. I love you. You love me. Do you have a free file?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It is for the kids, though.
It is?
So that was a good segue. It's for Windows. It's called Connect the Dots.
Connect the dots.
So
I think I can do that.
It does what
you
it
go
sounds.
from 1 to 2 to 3, right?
Or you can choose uppercase letters, or you can choose lowercase. Yeah.
them the alphabet.
There you go. So, and it's pretty straightforward. Like, it's pretty clear where you go next. So someone that doesn't know really where they should go, they kind of learn. And
So
then
you're saying even a stupid little kid could do this?
there you go.
Hey, look at that!
And then
even Ryan Ewell can do this.
There you go.
You know what? That's nice though. Instead of the regular connect the dots, where you get something that kind of doesn't really look. This looks exactly.
Yeah. So it's for little kids or people that just want to connect the dots.
How much is that?
It's absolutely free.
Free?
Buy now, buy often. There's about 12 pictures or so it's not a big thing, but it's cool.
What fun!
Yeah.
And that's from Higher Minds, and you have a link to it
on our website. Go to labwithleo.com. Click free files. I'll show you some more stuff. This and other stuff. Yules Jewels, they're free.
Okay, let's just stand here and do it. I love you.
I'm not doing this.
You love
You can't
me.
make me do
We'll
this.
be right back after this break. But before we go, a word from Franklin Harris all about copying DVDs. Right now, though, our quiz question of the day. According to Message Labs, thank you very much. What percentage of email in 2007, June of that year, was spam? I know it's not 100% because I got at least one message that month. What could it be? Think about it. We'll go to the answer when the lab continues right after this. Welcome back to the lab. Before the break, we asked you, according to Message Labs, what percentage of email in June 2007 was spam? I'm thinking the highest number you could possibly get, which would be 72.4%. You know what? I have bad news for you. It's gone up since June. In fact, in my case, it's 99.9%. Well, I'm not making that up.
I'm at 100.
Are you?
Yeah.
You get no good mail.
I get no good mail.
I get no good mail. No, I get my spam. I have a very good spam filtering system called MailRoute. It's a commercial one, mailroute.net. And they send me reports. The last report I got was I get 1 million messages a month, of which only 30,000 are any good. That means I get 970,000 spam messages a month. That's what is that? 99.9. Anyway.
Any offers to transfer money from an
Yes, as a matter of fact, the good news is I'm going to be able to go to Nigeria and be rich forever. So I'm really thrilled about all that. Franklin Harris is here. He's the managing editor of Technocrat at tech.nocr.at. He is going to show us how to rip DVDs. And we actually have DVD John to thank for this,
yes,
because
we do.
DVDs are copy protected.
That's correct. They use a CSS encoding that he so cleverly decoded.
Yeah, very quickly. Actually, he was just a high school student.
Yep.
So much for the movie industry. They were mad. Now you should check your local laws, but in many countries this is completely legal to do. You bought the copy of the DVD. I don't think there's anything wrong with making a copy of it for yourself.
You want to keep a backup copy in case something happens to your investment.
Or let's say you want to go on an airplane ride. You don't want to carry 10 DVDs with you. You put them on your hard drive,
right,
things
absolutely.
like that. Now, there are lots of commercial and free tools on Windows and Mac, but on Linux, it's a little trickier. The funny thing is that's why DVD John was cracking it, so you could play them back on Linux.
Right. It's a little tricky, but once you get it up and running,
is this the way to do it? This is how you rip your DVDs?
This is the way I rip them. There's two pieces of software specifically. The first one we're going to start off with is something called DVD 9.5, and the reason that they call that is most commercial DVDs are what are called DVD 9s. They contain dual layer. They contain about 9 gigs of data.
Okay.
The consumer DVDs that we buy, the Dash Rs Plus Rs, are 4.7 or 5, so hold 4.7. So most commercial DVDs, you can't really just put it in, click copy, and burn it on. Two reasons: the size, and the second is the encryption on it. So DVD 9 to 5 will actually take a DVD, and I have a commercial DVD in here that I'm assured by the executive producer I'm okay to show since he owns the copyrights on it. So.
I can't imagine what that is, but all right.
And once you put it in, it actually just goes through, shows you the different tracks on it. So I can say, you know what, I want all of them, or you know, I'm only interested actually in the main movie. I don't care about the features.
Usually the longer track, the hour-and-a-half to 2-hour track, is the movie, and the shorter ones are special features.
That's right, and stuff like that, you know, behind the scenes. Yeah. And with this one, you click convert, it's going to start ripping.
It's done.
It's going to
start. What format to put it in?
This actually will copy it. It will then eject the DVD, ask you to put in a blank one, and copy it back on.
So this one, you don't even save it on your hard drive. You're making a direct
That's right.
copy.
You're making a direct copy of it.
This is called DVD 9.5.
DVD 9.5. The other one, which I really use a lot, is something called DVD Rip.
Okay.
Now, this is Perl-based, and you can actually run this in Windows and
on the Mac as well. It's a little bit more complicated. But what this does is it will rip the video and transcode it into anything you want.
So you can put it on your iPod,
on your
Apple
iPod,
TV,
whatever the case may be.
Your DVR.
Doesn't really matter.
Okay, cool.
But one of the really nice features about this that I've yet to see in any of the other software is it has a cluster mode. So if you have multiple machines at home.
Yeah, we have a cluster mode here too, but I don't think it means the same thing. So what is a cluster mode?
If you have other older based machines at home, you can install Linux on that and just put the DVD rip software.
Oh,
what
and it'll share
CPU
cycles.
It'll use all the, and that's what I do at home. I've got a bunch of old machines. I just have just the kernel installed.
Does it make it much faster?
Yeah, it does. A lot faster. Well, what it does is it actually hands out slices. So
you do this, you do this, you do this.
That's right, exactly. Exactly. At home, we watch a lot of episodic TV. We buy TV shows. I rip them all into in the XVID format, put it up on the media server, and we're good.
Well, that's the thing. You have a media server, so you don't want to have to change DVDs. You want to have them on the hard drive.
And there's other features. I mean, you can actually resume the image. There are just tons of features. Rip the subtitles and actually put the subtitles in the video if you want.
Wow. This is DVD rip.
This is DVD rip.
And both of these are free because they're Linux, they're open source. Do they come with any distributions?
They don't, but the major distributions like Ubuntu and Debian, it's right in the packet manager. So if you use like the graphic packet manager,
just click DVD rip,
click DVD rip. It'll install the dependencies. No problems whatsoever.
Very good.
I got Ubuntu here. I had no problem getting it running.
What media server do you run software?
FreeNAS.
FreeNAS.
That's right, FreeNAS, which is another open source BSD-based
running
distribution.
On Linux. Or BSD, interesting.
Right? And I just got a lot of hard drives. Maybe next time I'll bring it in.
That would be a great topic
3
for us.
terabyte.
And then so you copy these movie files over to the server, and then they're available to
my Myth TV.
Isn't that great?
Connects to the media server, and we've got.
Unfortunately, you have to be a mad Linux hacker these days. But in a few years, this will all be just commonplace.
Yeah.
He's the man, Franklin Harris, mad Linux hacker. You must watch his podcast, Underwear.tv.
Yes, digital underwear.
Digitalunderground.tv. There it is. You can also catch more at Technocrat, technocr.at.
You got it.
You the man. Thank you, Frank. We'll be back with final words as the lab continues right after this. Stay here. Well, it looks like, Kate, I have actually checked off every segment on this. Would you mind giving me the validation for the parking now? And I'll be on my way. I have to do every segment or I don't get the parking validation. It's very important.
Maybe we'll do it all again tomorrow.
You got the sticker that you could put on there? Because the guy downstairs is very mean. He won't let me out of here. We will do this all again tomorrow, and I hope you will join us to do it because it's so much fun.
Indeed.
Thank you so much for being here. Thanks to Ray Maxwell, Tris Hussey, to the great Franklin Harris. I always worry that the Mounties are going to show up when he's in the house. You never know with Frank.
Just don't take a plane with him.
You never know, but he's a great guy, and we really love having him on. We love having you here. If you want to be on the show, you can. All you have to do is ask us a question. Tell them how they do that, will you?
Leo.com/tech questions, submit, and you'll be good to go.
It's that easy.
I'll phone you.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
All right, we're all done, yes?
Indeed, let's go to the car and get done.
Okay,
paid up,
put the stamp on there. Okay. No, it's a big difference, $15 to $5. I got to save my money. We'll see you next time on The Lab. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
I might have missed something.
Did I miss? Oh.